So what exactly is division? Let's say I have 11 blocks right here and I'm trying to split it up between my kids and my nephew. If I don't split it up evenly, they are probably gonna fight over it and have a big brawl. So let's do that right now. Let's split them up evenly so we don't cause a fight. That means that if I had 11 cubes, each kid will have 3 blocks and I will have 2 left over. This is what's called a remainder. This is how my parenting problem translates into a paper. How do I divide these 11 cubes between 3 kids? So that number 11 is what goes inside this half-looking box, and that's called your dividend. 3, what you're dividing by, is called your divisor. That goes in the outside. And after you do all these steps, which I will go over the next slide, the final answer of a division problem is called a quotient. So remember those 3 words. We're going to try to use them as much as possible. Here's what a long division example looks like. We're going to tackle example 1 first. So when you write this, that number 4 is what you start off with. Then you write this half-looking box like that, and you put 112 in the inside. There is a process when you're doing this, and that's what we're going to go over right now. What you want to ask first is if this 4 fits into 1. And if it doesn't, if it does not fit into 1, then you ask yourself, does 4 fit into 11? You just go one place value over. 4 fits into 11, and you can count. 4, 8. If I get to 12, that's too much. So it fits into it twice. And this is why I like long division. You gotta know your multiplication, you gotta know your addition and subtraction. So it's really good practice of all your mental math. We said that 4 fits into 11 up to 2 times, and that is the number that I'm gonna write up here, 2. Next step, you're gonna multiply these 2 numbers. And I will provide you with notes afterwards, but let's see if you can remember these steps from this example. 4 times 2 is 8, and you're gonna write that result right here. Write a new line like that, and you're gonna subtract 11 minus 8. So 11 minus 8 is 3, and then you drop down this 2. Boom, just like that. You ask yourself now, how many times does 4 fit into 32? And that is the number that you're gonna write right here. 8 times 4, that's 32. You write that right under here, take away, and if there is nothing left over, that's 32 minus 32, 0. It doesn't have a remainder, and you're done. Your answer is 28. If you want to check your answer, you could just do 28 times 4, and you will get 112. That is how you check your answer. If you want to pause the video and take notes or whatever you want to do so. But this is the whole process that just repeats over and over and over until you either get a remainder or there's nothing left. So let me go over it again. First thing you want to ask is, how many times does 3 fit into 7? That is step A. And the answer you're going to write right here. It fits into 7 2 times. You guys remember the next step? All you got to do is multiply 2 to 3. That's step B. And 2 times 3 is 6. And from there, you subtract. 7 minus 6 is 1. Now we're in step D. Drop the 1 down. You get 11, and you ask yourself, how many times does 3 fit into 11? That is the number that I wrote up here. And then repeat the process. 3 times 3, that's 9, and I'm subtracting afterwards. 11 minus 9 is 2. And this is where you get a remainder. If 3 can no longer fit into 2, then that's it. That's the leftover. So I will write remainder 2. And when you write your remainder, it's just a fraction over your divisor, and the final answer will be 23, and 2/3 comes from your remainder over your divisor. We're gonna go a little faster this time. 59 divided by 3, let's do it. So 3 is on the outside, I got 59 in the inside. Ask yourself, how many times does 3 fit into 5? And that's easy, that's just 1 time. So that is the number, and I'm gonna write up here. and afterwards you multiply. 3 times 1 is 3. What is the next step? If you're thinking subtraction, I am making sense. So now we subtract 5 minus 3, that is 2. We drop down to 9 and repeat the same pattern until you get a remainder or you have nothing left. 3 goes into 29. If you're not really sure, do your multiples with your fingers. So that is 9 times. And the last step is 9 times 3. That's 27. Subtract once again. I got 2. So the answer is 19 with a remainder of 2. How do you write that? That's 19 and 2/3. Let's keep going. 18 divided by 4. 4 does not go into 1, but 4 goes into 18. You just gotta count, know your multiples. 4, 8, 12, 16. That is 4 times, and these two you multiply. 4 times 4, that's 16, and you're subtracting that from 18. You put a 2 there, so you're gonna get a remainder of 2. When you write this, when you write your quotient, your final answer, that'll be 4 and 2/4. Sometimes you can simplify those fractions even further, so that can also be written as 4.5, because 2/4 is the same as 1/2. Here is a special case that I want to talk about. Sometimes you'll run into a scenario like this. 2 goes in the outside and 217 goes in the inside. You ask yourself the first part, how many times does 2 go into 2? That is 1 time, and 1 times 2 is 2, which I'm subtracting from that, and I get a 0. Now I drop down the 1. So at this point, you can't just drop down that 7. Do not drop down the 7. Don't drop both of them down or you're gonna mess this up. You ask yourself, how many times does 2 fit into 1? And you can't. You can't fit in 2 into 1. So the moment that you get that, you're just gonna write, and this is very important, you're gonna write 0 up here. Otherwise, you're gonna get this wrong. You do the same step. 0 times 2 is 0. And I'm still subtracting. Now I'm left with 1 minus 0, which is 1. And this is when the 7 drops down. And now you can repeat the same step. 2 fits into 17. 8 times 2 is 16, which I'm subtracting right here. And I'm left with a remainder of 1. So the answer is 108 and 1/2. All right, let's see if you guys learned something. I want you to try the 2 problems out. Be careful about that 0. And then the second one, I gave you a 3-digit number divided by a 2-digit number. We didn't even do that, but hopefully you know your multiples of 12. Pause that video, try out the problem, and when you are done, unpause it for the solutions. Good luck. Here are your answers. First, you had to ask yourself, how many times does 3 fit into 3? 1 time. And that's when that 0 special problem comes in. Because 1 times 3 is 3. If you subtract this, you get 0, and the 1 drops down. Do not, and I repeat, do not put the 4 right here, or you're gonna get this wrong. You just have to ask yourself, how many times does 3 fit into 1? And if it's 0 times, that is the number that you're gonna write right there. The one with the 3-digit number divided by 2-digit number, it's done the same way. You ask yourself, how many times does 12 fit into 2? If it doesn't fit into that, then you go to 29. And that is twice. And then you just repeat it. I wrote that one because I want you guys to practice your 12s. I hope that really helped. There is a free worksheet that you can use to get more practice with answers in the description box below. If it helped, throw me a like. Let me know in the chat box what other math help you need. But until then, I will see you on the next episode. Peace.